Welcome back to the 60/40 cash flow series. So we're now up to tip number 12, which means that there's only 2 more to go after this one. We truly hope that you've found some of the earlier tips useful and that you're starting to take action on some of the points raised. If you haven't seen them all yet, be sure to check out our YouTube channel and just catch up on those earlier ones. My name is Cherie, and this tip is part of a series of 14 things that you can do to begin to take control of the cash flowing in and out of your business. Since starting my career, I've worked with hundreds of small business owners to help them work less, earn more, and to create the business of their dreams. Is that what you're looking for? Because these tips are just the start of how we can help you do the same. Our tip number 12 is to look after your payroll and employee costs. Payroll is simply the money and entitlements that you pay to your employees and to yourself. In Australia, payroll is not just the physical wages paid to employees, it also includes the pay-as-you-go withholding, or the taxes that you withhold from your staff, and any superannuation. Salary packages are able to be negotiated that might include any number of additional benefits up to a total remuneration limit. There are a number of quite complex regulations that govern employment and payroll laws, and that will dictate the packages that you offer and the entitlements of your employees. The actual payroll amount paid to the employee is only one aspect of the total cost of employment. Payroll obligations will extend to superannuation, work cover or workers' compensation insurance, and where your wages exceed a certain threshold, they'll also be used to calculate state payroll tax. In the US, the Bureau of Labor Statistics show that benefits accounted for 32% of all employer costs of compensation for US workers in June 2018. Other types of compensation might also include Social Security and Medicare insurance and unemployment insurance. And this is before you even look at any of the reporting that might be required on either a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis. There are a few cautionary notes surrounding employees. We're only going to touch on 4 little points in this note, and these are not exhaustive nor the only things that you need to think about. As a disclaimer, payroll and employment is a complex area and you need to make sure that you get it right, so get any help that you need from a qualified professional. The first point here is that you need to be your own employee and to pay yourself a market salary. 2 is that payroll expenses will generally form a large part of the overall expense in your business. 3, your business is made up of people. And 4, there are a lot of rules that you need to know in order for your workplace to be compliant. So let's have a quick look at these in turn. So you're in business to make money. If you work in the business, then the business should be profitable after paying you a market-based salary. Otherwise, you've got a labor of love and not an investment. If it's not quite there yet, that's okay, so long as you have a plan to get you to that position. We want you to think of your business as a way to make a living, but also as an asset, which might ultimately be one of the largest assets that you build over your lifetime. Payroll expenses will likely be some of the largest costs in your business, depending upon which industry that you're in. As a result, it's a natural area to look at for cost-saving measures. Sometimes, though, your employees can be an incredible investment in your business, and when managed well, you should be able to pay them better and have less headcount while still being hugely productive. No matter what business you're in, it will eventually need to get some help, whether it be external advice or consultants. So just keep that in mind when you're looking to price out your goods or services. You don't want to be the only person doing things in your business, because then you have a job, not a business. A big word of caution, when working with employees, you're working with other people, so be compassionate and above all, conduct all employment matters in a legal way. Employment relations and legal matters are your responsibility as an employer, and this is something that you have to manage properly. We strongly recommend getting external help when developing your policies, systems and processes, which also includes being careful in your choice of any template documents that you choose to use as the basis for hiring or managing your people. On the money meter, this is a money out item. Payroll costs can represent a significant part of the overall expense profile in any business, and as such it should be carefully managed, just as you would with any other expense. But remember, these are people you're working with. People will either make or break your business, and this makes the impact on cash flow incredibly high. When you're spending so much on employees, then taking steps to invest in the building of a great system to recruit, hire, onboard and train your staff and provide them with ongoing support and training to really help them shine in their role will ultimately pay major dividends for you. The ease to implement is also high. I've given it this rating simply because you'll likely have to get the help of outside consultants to ensure that you have things in order as far as your legal obligations are concerned. Having good documentation and ensuring compliance with workplace matters is your responsibility, so use common sense when putting all of this together. I was recently looking at a document from the Society for Human Resource Management, and it said that there were over 700 benchmarks. Can you believe that? 700 benchmarks to manage employee performance. The detail necessary to actually extract and monitor those would be phenomenal. But let's move away from that. What is it that you really want to measure with your employees? Performance and team dynamics will often be more complex than what will ever be shown in numbers alone. And at the heart of it, metrics really are just a signpost to determine causes of success and failure so that you can identify ways to take action. But what you measure is hugely important. We strongly believe in the process of setting OKRs, or objectives and key results. This practice was invented at Intel in the 70s. Managers use OKRs to prioritize quarterly objectives for employees that build alignment with the overall company goals. Before you think that this is just big business stuff that you can't use in a small business, I'd ask you just to spend 15 minutes and check into it. This absolutely can apply to small business. The model is used as a way to quantify what you're working on and measure the ability to achieve those goals. You want to prioritize the important things first and then look at the finer details. Why not spend just one day a quarter mapping out what you actually want to achieve and then have at it with a clear objective, rather than just get to the end of yet another quarter and wonder what happened? Even if you start small, just ask yourself 2 questions, the same ones Andy Groves did while at Intel. Where do I want to go? And how will I know I'm getting there? So let's brainstorm a few things about your employees. So there's been a lot that we've talked about already, but let's just focus on 2 specific things right now. Are you set up for success in your employment matters? Thinking about your current situation, if you have employees, are all of their files in order? Do they have a clear idea of what they're supposed to be working on? Do you have policies and agreements in place? Do you have legal agreements that cover confidentiality and privacy matters? And second, how much are you currently paying yourself? How much should you be paid? Or how much would you be paid if you were working for someone else? And if you aren't earning this, how can we help get you there? Let us know what you've come up with. Connect with us on Facebook or on LinkedIn. And if you use LinkedIn, please use the hashtag GrowWith6040. Here's the YouTube extra content on employment. Employment law and employee management is a specialised area that you might need to get some help with. Please reach out to our network to get whatever the help is you need. Getting it wrong can be so costly, and it doesn't take all that much more to just do it right and have no issues. So the first point is to get the compliance right. There are major compliance obligations for employment, which goes well beyond the scope of this tip and does extend to things like occupational health and safety mandates and the obligation to provide a safe work environment, and ensuring that you comply with minimum standards as far as paying conditions and staff management. Now, this includes things like hours, rosters, termination, holiday and leave pay, and breaks. This is such an important area, and getting it wrong can be extremely costly. Any discussion in these tips is general in nature, and it's a non-exhaustive list, so you should be getting good advice to ensure compliance from your accountant or your specialist employment solicitor or lawyer. The second point is to hire right. The cost of a bad hire is absolutely massive. As Brian Tracy says, hiring the wrong person is the most costly mistake you can make. Studies show that the real cost of hiring someone new can be more than 50% of that person's salary, and a bad hire can cost the business up to 2.5 times the salary of the employee, given the financial expenses of recruitment and advertising, spending time on recruitment, the actual salary payment, education and training, the costs to rehire. And this is before looking at the opportunity cost of the time lost during that period. So what can you do? Be explicitly clear about the role by using a position agreement, and take the time to properly map out the actual job role. This might be done using a functional organisation chart so that you're actually hiring the right person. Recognise the skills that you require the person to have. So for example, if you want to hire someone who can perform well, you wouldn't be expecting a receptionist to also be a bookkeeper and an office manager and the marketing person. The roles and expectations are just too diverse. Let's say you did find that diamond though. What would happen if they left? For these, you'd actually need to consider splitting the role and potentially bringing in specialists for each position. So a specialist bookkeeper who you might only need for 2 to 4 hours a week, or a specialist marketing person who you only might need for 5 to 10 hours a week. This is the magic of outsourcing that's beginning to work for you. The third point here is what is expected. Is your job role a top secret mission? Have you ever defined what it is that your employee is supposed to be doing and taken the time to explain why and provide initial and ongoing training so that they're actually able to perform the role, assuming that they're willing to do that? To be clear, you need to ensure your staff know what's actually expected of them. You can do this through the position agreement. A common frustration is that staff don't seem to care as much of the owner. If you hire good people, they will flourish if you can create clear expectations. They need to know what you want and also that they will be supported with systems, resources and coaching so that they can get to those agreed upon results. Once they know what their results are supposed to be and they know that they can achieve them, then they'll really become an absolutely gold star employee. When you have a clear objective for the role, then it's much easier to create a job scorecard or an assessment tool for qualifying candidates. And that sets out the role itself, the mission of the job, the outcomes of the role, and competencies that you're looking for. Once you have a candidate that you then want to sign on with a position agreement, and this is the agreed upon foundations of the role and the results that you're looking from it. This will be part of the letter of offer, which should cover all of the other legal things surrounding their employment, which we're not going to go into here. They can't read your mind, so be sure to be clear about what it is that you're looking for them to actually do. Just remember, this is an area that has a lot of legal implications and significant costs for not getting it right. So if you're going to invest in employees, then invest the time to choose and implement the right systems and processes guided by suitably qualified and experienced professionals so that you're protected as far as possible.
Thanks for listening to this tip in our cash flow series. We've got more to come, so keep an eye out for them as they're released on our social channels, or sign up for our email list where you can get a fast pass to access these tips and more. So just head on over to our site at www.6040.io/cashflow and get your access today. So there's 14 tips in total in this series, and we'd love to have you back. Have an awesome day.